She's chosen not to just be herself, but to represent herself as an African-American woman or a biracial person, and that's simply not true.
The reporter then asked Dolezal to explain a photo that was posted earlier this year on the NAACP Spokane Facebook page showing Dolezal and an African-American man. In the description accompanying that post, the man is identified as Dolezal's father.
Is that your dad?
Yeah, that's my dad.
This man right here is your father? Right there?
You have a question about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was wondering if your dad really is an African-American man.
That's a very, I mean, I don't know what you're implying.
Are you African-American?
I don't understand the question of, I did tell you that, yes, that's my dad. And he was unable to come in January.
Are your parents, are they white?
Would you identify yourself as an African American?
I actually don't like the term African American. I prefer black. And I would say that if, if I was asked, I would definitely say that yes, I do consider myself to be black.
The candor around her racial ancestry is in question. What is not in question is her leadership. And to be frank with you, when you talk to people on the ground, they're less worried about her ethnic ancestry than the work that she has done. It's frankly based on the opinions, the assessment of people who work with her. It's just not an issue.
The brown paper bag test also has to do with hair. And we talk a lot about colorism, but we don't talk about hair types and the hierarchy, which we know that white supremacy is a hierarchy on the basis of skin color, right? But it also takes into account other racial characteristics like hair texture. And so type 1 to type 8, hair is actually typed, and a type 1 is straight to minimal wave. And type 1 was, the hierarchy was at the pinnacle of good hair. And that was based on white supremacy, based on racism. Type 2 was open wave, type 3 was wavy, type 4 was curly, like this. It's type 4 to type 5 here. Type 6 is very coiled. This is where the hair can start to naturally dread with palm rolling. I do that because so very coiled, and type 7 and type 8 then were also on this chart of what we would call nappiness. And so that poem refers to nappy in a sense of very textured, heavily textured zigzag and coiled hair.
Rachel has always been a very passionate person and an emotional person, and
driven.
Very driven, but not always realistic or rational. So this is, obviously the most extreme of her behaviors in that line. Just her concept of reality itself, or seeking to reinvent reality, that sort of thing, having expectations of herself that were not realistic or of others. And also just a negative sort of view of people and family. That sort of thing was also concerning.
There's this amazing moment in your film where you talk about the sort of way that you were kind of welcomed into Blackness, that there was this sort of outstretched arms you found in this community that is obviously incredibly diverse within itself.
Exactly.
And I wondered what you thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that I grew up in a space where it was kind of like I was an extension of my family. And as opposed to, I would say a lot of times, like at Georgetown where I went to college, a lot of the white Jewish students, and I grew up in a white Jewish community, would question me and say, wow, it's so crazy that you're Jewish. But the black students wouldn't say the same thing. In that community, they understood the full diversity of who we could be. And that's why I'm saying, like, this, even this conversation around her and even the way it's been set up, it's very binary, right? And the reality is it's not that binary. There's so many different ways to be so many different things, and there's so many different ways you can identify. And I think people really want a nuanced conversation of what that looks like.
But is it possible that she might actually be black? And the best way that I know how to describe this, and I want to be very careful here, because I don't want to say that it is equivalent to the trans gender experience, but there is a useful language in trans and cis, which is just to say some of us are born cisgendered, some of us are born transgendered, but I wonder, can it be that one would be cis black and trans black? That there is actually a different category of blackness that is about the achievement of blackness despite one's parentage. Is that possible?
It's absolutely possible. I mean, why not? I mean, I think that one thing that she said that I found so fascinating was she said her identity is multi-layered and that her identity is very complicated and that she didn't expect for people to understand it easily. And I think what she's alluding to is this sort of, perhaps, and again, we don't know that much about the story. You know, we need to hear more from her and more of her personal story. But there certainly is a chance that she identifies as a black woman, and that there could be authenticity to that.